The Biochemistry of Cancer, Part 2. By the end of this lecture, you will be able to describe, using examples, the two enabling characteristics and the two emerging hallmarks of cancer. You will also be able to illustrate using diagrams the mechanisms involved in each tumorigenic process, and from the first 3 lectures as a whole, you will be able to write holistically about tumorigenesis as a multi-step process. Following on from their first review article in 2000, Hanahan and Weinberg published an update review, Hallmarks of Cancer, the Next Generation, in 2011, in which, in addition to summarising updates to the 6 original hallmarks, also outlines 2 enabling characteristics and 2 emerging hallmarks. The first of the 2 enabling characteristics that are common to all cancers is that of genome instability and mutation. Last week, we looked at the nature of cancers arising as a result of genetic mutations. The DNA in cancer cells is less stable than in healthy cells and is therefore more prone to mutation. Cancer cells select for those mutations that will help them outlast their normal, healthy neighbouring cells. This selective advantage is very much like Darwin's survival of the fittest hypothesis and enables a subset of cells to rapidly grow and take over a local site. Tumour cells acquire this instability either because they have an increased sensitivity to agents that can cause mutations, or because there is a breakdown in one or more parts of the genome maintenance machinery, the so-called caretakers of the genome. Allied to this, there is often a problem with the normal surveillance systems that keep an eye on this integrity of the cellular genome. The second enabling characteristic is that of tumour-promoting inflammation. The body will respond to the presence of a tumour by mounting an inflammatory and immune response, but this will itself inadvertently promote the growth and proliferation of the tumour by supplying growth factors for proliferation, pro-survival signals to evade death, and extracellular matrix proteases to facilitate angiogenesis, invasion, and metastasis. In addition, inflammatory cells kick out other chemicals, such as reactive oxygen species, that can further damage the DNA in nearby cancer cells, leading to more mutations. The first emerging hallmark is deregulating cellular energetics. In order to fuel their rapid growth and proliferation, cancer cells require a lot more energy than normal. Normal healthy cells break down glucose under aerobic conditions to pyruvate in the cytosol and thereafter to carbon dioxide in the mitochondria. Under anaerobic conditions, that is, in the absence of oxygen, glycolysis is favoured and so minimal amounts of pyruvate are used in the mitochondria. Cancer cells can reprogram their glucose metabolism and even in the presence of oxygen will limit their metabolism to glycolysis, a state of aerobic glycolysis, and this is known as the Warburg effect. At first glance, this metabolic switch may seem counterintuitive because the cancer cells need to make up for the 18-fold lower efficiency of ATP production. But cancer cells have figured out a way around this. By overexpressing the glucose transporter molecules, GLUT1, on their cell surface, they can in effect gobble up many more glucose molecules than a normal cell. The second emerging hallmark, and also the final hallmark identified by Hanahan and Weinberg, is avoiding immune destruction. This is the ability of tumour cells to evade the body's natural immune defence mechanisms. It has long been thought that cells and tissues are constantly being monitored by the immune system, ready to target and get rid of cancer cells and newly formed tumours. Cancer cells have evolved mechanisms to avoid immune detection and elimination, most notably by switching off the expression of cell surface antigens that would identify them to the immune system as dangerous. So, there we have it, 6 original hallmarks, 2 enabling characteristics, and 2 emerging hallmarks, common properties that mark all cancers. Next, we will look at the role that certain classes of viruses play in causing cancer.